Growing up, it was really tough. We lived in a divorce situation, so back and forth between Corona and Buena Park. I loved the first year of high school. I felt like for the first time I fit in somewhere, and then before long I was introduced to pot, but that kind of led to other things, and I started kind of messing around with pills. I was doing methamphetamines with my friends all night, and I was wearing a t-shirt that said "Obey, Pray, Trust" on it, and we were up all night snorting lines, and I remember looking in the mirror the next morning and just thinking something just doesn't make sense here, seeing the shirt that I was wearing and then seeing my face and what I was doing. There was like a disconnect between the life I was living and what a Christian should look like. The breaking point was one day I come home early from a trip because I didn't want to be away from my girlfriend for too long, whatever that was. And she tells me, she was like, I just think we need to spend some time apart. I feel like things are different now. And right then and there, I lost it. That was it. She was my only hope at that time. You know, all my faith was in her. And I just decided, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to kill myself. And I'd gone to this place several times where I had planned to do it. And like in the past, as I was, contemplating, and I was like, if I ever do it, that's the place I'm going to do it. And I thought that I was going to drive my truck into this brick wall, and it had a sign on it that said "End." So I floored it at 60 miles an hour down this alley. I realized my seatbelt was on at the last second, took it off, and crashed. Next thing I remembered, I was in what seemed to be like a forest, or like there was trees everywhere, and it was late at night and I didn't know where I was. They eventually took me to the hospital, mental hospital, and I was there for a while, and just until I was well enough to go back home. A guy that I worked with, a couple guys actually, were Christian, and they just were evangelizing at work. One of the guys invited me to Seacoast Grace Young Adults. I was actually high when I came here the first time, but there was just this connection with this church. Moy was like leading worship that night, and I was just like, dude, that pastor's awesome, and the music's awesome, and everything about that church is so cool, and I met really cool people here. And that truth in Christ just kept like calling out to me. So that was when I pretty much started that journey back in the walk with Christ. Getting into a step study with a bunch of guys through CR was really helpful. They were a huge factor in getting me out of my addiction. I was going on a mission trip to Guatemala, and I didn't know how I was gonna get the money. I was broke, but I knew God wanted me to be there. And I was at one of the meetings with the guys, and I just mentioned it. I had no intention of asking them for anything, and I said, I'm going on this mission trip, and I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I just kind of laughed about it, where I'm going, and literally the next week, one of the guys in CR said, me and the rest of the guys got together and we talked about getting money together for you for your trip, and this is what we came up with. And he gave me a slip of paper, and it was like $600 that they all accumulated, and my jaw just dropped, and I was floored. I got to this point, Cody said something at one of the messages that it's like you're either all in or you're not at all type of thing. But it was true, what am I doing? I was in an in-between place for the longest time, and I realized I'm either gonna go back to my old life or I'm gonna pursue Christ, and I'm just gonna go for it. And I did not want to go back to my meaningless existence, I mean, all the brothers in my life are there to lift me up, and I think kind of in different ways. Coming coming to Christ and actually being brought to Christ by a brother. There's just this such meaningful relationships with people that where you can tell them literally any little thing going on, and they're not like thrown off by it, and they're there for you, and they love you, and they care about you. They'll pray for you. It's just really powerful and meaningful and beautiful.
Everybody needs someone beside them, shining like a lighthouse from the sea. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you love. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way, bring you home. Desert now, there's a cage locked around my heart. I found a way to drop the keys when my failures wear out. My hands can't reach that far. Now I ain't made for a rivalry, and I can never take the world alone. I know that in my weakness I'm strong, but it's your love that brings me home. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. Shelter, I'll never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're feeling low. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on.